Toma stood at the edge of the silver ramp, looking at the strange new world in front of him. The planet Varel was nothing like Earth. The sky was purple, the trees were tall and had blue leaves, and small glowing insects flew around quietly. This was the first time a human had been allowed to visit Varel, and Toma felt both excited and nervous. He stepped off the ramp and walked slowly across the soft ground. The grass felt like silk under his shoes. A group of tall, thin aliens stood nearby. They had smooth blue skin, large eyes, and glowing lines on their necks. One of them raised a hand in welcome. Toma smiled and gave a small wave. A translator device on his wrist blinked green, which meant it was working. The leader of the group spoke in a calm voice. "Welcome, human Toma. We are honored to meet you." Toma nodded. "Thank you. I am happy to be here." The group led him to a nearby building. It looked like a large bubble made of glass, but it was warm inside. This was the Learning Dome, a place where Varelians studied other planets and life forms. Toma was sent here as a guest researcher. His job was to observe and share information about human life. As he walked through the Learning Dome, he noticed soft lights on the walls and quiet music in the air. Everything felt peaceful. But as he turned a corner, he saw something unusual. Girl was standing very still near the wall. She looked different from the others. Her eyes were wide, and her skin had a soft green glow. She was staring at him without blinking. When Toma noticed her, he paused. He gave her a small smile and waved. The girl didn't move. She just stared. Toma felt a little awkward but didn't want to be rude. He kept walking, but after a few steps, he turned his head slightly and saw her again. She was now following him, keeping a small distance. For the rest of the day, wherever Toma went, she followed. She didn't speak, didn't smile, and didn't try to come closer. She just watched him like he was the most interesting thing in the whole world. At first, Toma thought it was a little strange, but then he remembered something from his training. The Varelians respected silence. They often watched and listened before they spoke. Maybe she was just curious. Toma decided not to say anything. He continued his tasks, and she continued following him. Later in the evening, Toma sat near a quiet pond outside the dome. He took out a small pack of food and ate slowly. He noticed the girl was still there, standing behind a tree. She didn't hide very well. Her bright eyes peeked from behind the trunk. Toma held up a piece of fruit and pointed to her. She didn't move. He smiled again. "It's sweet. Want to try?" She stepped forward a little but said nothing. Toma placed the fruit on the ground and stepped back. After a moment, she walked over, picked it up, and looked at it carefully. Then she looked at him again. "I'm Toma," he said gently. "What's your name?" She looked at him for a few more seconds and then finally spoke in a quiet voice. "Nara." Her voice was soft, almost like a song. Toma was happy to hear it. He nodded. "Nice to meet you, Nara." She held the fruit close but didn't eat it. She sat down a few steps away from him and kept watching. For the next few days, the same thing happened. Nara followed Toma everywhere. She didn't talk much, but she started to respond with small nods. When he smiled, she gave a soft light glow on her neck, which he learned was a Varelian way to show happiness. Other Varelians noticed her behavior. Some of them whispered to each other, but no one told her to stop. One elder said with a calm voice, "She is learning. Let her learn." Toma was surprised by how serious she seemed. Every time he picked up a tool, tasted a fruit, or wrote in his notebook, she watched with full attention. One day, she even walked closer and looked at his notes. "What is this?" she asked, pointing to his drawing of Earth. "That's where I come from," he said. "It's called Earth. It's my home." She looked at the picture for a long time. "It has water like here," she said. "Yes, and trees too," Toma replied. "But no glowing trees. I like yours better." Nara gave a small smile. That evening, Toma was walking back to his room when he noticed something left outside his door. It was a small, glowing fruit, the same kind he liked from the first day. It was wrapped in soft leaves and tied with a thin string made of grass. He picked it up and looked around. Nara was standing a few steps away, watching. "I remembered," she said simply. Toma nodded, touched by the gesture. "Thank you," he said. Nara looked at him and said something that stayed in his mind for a long time. "I never saw a human before. Now I want to understand." And from that day forward, she didn't just follow. She walked beside him. Toma woke up to the soft sound of chimes outside his room. The air inside the dome was fresh and warm. Small lights moved across the ceiling like stars, helping him feel calm and rested. He stretched his arms and smiled. Today was the start of his second week on Virel. When he stepped out of his room, he saw her again. Nara was already waiting. She stood quietly near the entrance, her eyes watching him just like the day before. Her blue skin gave off a soft light, and her hands were behind her back. Toma waved at her, and this time she waved back. It was a small wave, but it made him smile. "Good morning," Toma said. "Good morning," Nara replied. Her voice was soft, but it had a little more strength than before. Toma picked up his tablet and notes, ready to head to the observation garden. It was a place where researchers studied the plants and animals of Virel. As he walked, Nara followed beside him, not behind anymore. The path was lined with flowers that opened when someone passed by. Small flying creatures moved between them, making soft buzzing sounds. Toma looked at one that changed colors and pointed. "That one looks like a butterfly," he said. "What is a butterfly?" Nara asked. Toma pulled up a picture of a butterfly on his tablet and showed her. Nara looked closely. "It is small and has wings, like this one, but no glow." "Yes, ours don't glow, but they are pretty," Toma said. She nodded. "I would like to see one." Toma laughed gently. "Maybe someday, when you visit Earth." Nara's eyes widened a little. "Can I?" "Maybe. One day." "If the council agrees," Toma said. They reached the garden, and Toma sat down at a large stone table. He started scanning the plants and writing notes. Nara sat beside him, watching every move he made. When he drew a leaf, she drew it too in her own notebook. When he touched a plant, she leaned in to look at it closely. After a while, she spoke again. "Why do you wear shoes?" Toma looked at his feet and smiled. "Our feet are soft. Sharp things can hurt us." Nara looked down at her own feet. She had no shoes. Her skin looked stronger and her toes had soft pads. "We walk on stone and sand. It does not hurt," she said. "Maybe humans are just softer," Toma said with a laugh. Nara tilted her head. "But you come far. You travel through stars. That is not soft." Toma stopped writing and looked at her. "That's true. Maybe we are soft outside, but not inside." Nara gave a small glow on her neck. Toma had learned that meant she liked what he said. Later, they walked to the library room. It was full of glowing books and floating screens. Toma showed Nara a picture of a cat. "This is a cat. It lives in many human homes." "It is small," Nara said. "Yes. It makes a sound like meow," Toma replied. She looked surprised. "That sound is strange," he smiled. "It's a funny sound. But people love cats." "Do they follow you like me?" she asked. Toma laughed. "Sometimes, if they like you." Nara looked thoughtful. "Then I am like a cat." Toma shook his head. "You ask more questions than any cat I've seen." That day, Nara followed him to the food center. It was a place where visitors and Virelians shared meals. Toma picked a plate with soft green fruits and yellow cubes that tasted like cheese. Nara chose a round fruit that glowed pink. As they sat down, others looked at them. Some Virelians watched with quiet interest. One elder gave a small nod, showing respect. Others seemed unsure, but didn't speak. Toma noticed and asked, "Is it strange I eat with you?" Nara shook her head. "Some think humans are too fast, too loud, but I do not think that." "I try to be careful," Toma said. "You are," she replied. After lunch, Nara asked more questions. "Why do you laugh?" Toma blinked. "We laugh when something is funny or when we feel joy." "Show me," she said. Toma thought for a moment. Then he made a silly face and crossed his eyes. Nara stared for a second, then gave a soft sound. It was not quite a laugh, but close. "I think that is the start of a laugh," Toma said. Nara looked at him. "It feels warm." "That's laughter," Toma replied. "It makes people feel good." They walked through the quiet garden again. Nara pointed at the sky. "Your eyes are small. How do you see the stars?" Toma looked up. "We use machines to see far. We have things called telescopes." "Do they make stars bigger?" "Yes," Toma said. "We can see many stars and even other planets." Nara closed her eyes. "I want to see what you see." Toma pulled a small device from his bag. It was a handheld telescope. He gave it to her. She looked through it and gasped softly. "The moon is close," she said. Toma nodded. "That is one of your moons." "It is beautiful," she whispered. As the sun began to set, the sky turned soft pink. Toma sat by the same pond as before. Nara sat beside him, holding the telescope. "Do you always watch people like this?" Toma asked. "No," she said. "Only you." "Why?" "Because you are different," she said. "But also the same?" Toma looked at the water. "I feel the same. You are not like humans, but I understand you." Nara looked at him. "You do not speak much with others." "I think they are waiting." "Watching," Toma said. "Like I did," she replied. Toma smiled. "Maybe that is the Virelian way." Nara nodded. "I want to learn more. I want to understand everything." "Then follow me," Toma said gently. "Ask every question." "I will," she said. As the stars appeared above them, Nara sat a little closer than before. She didn't need to hide behind trees anymore. She was not just a follower now. She was a friend. Every morning on Virel started the same way now. Toma would wake up, stretch, and open the door to find Nara already waiting with her notebook in hand. She stood straight, her soft blue glow brighter than the day before. She never said much in the morning, but her eyes always looked ready to learn. Toma had started keeping a list of the questions Nara asked him. He had to. There were too many. "Why do you eat warm food?" she asked on the way to the library. "It tastes better for us when it's cooked," Toma answered. "Why?" she asked again. "Some foods become soft when heated. Others release new tastes. And it also helps remove anything that can make us sick." Nara nodded and wrote something in her notebook. "So cooking is for taste and safety." "Exactly," Toma said with a smile. She thought for a moment. "Then why did you eat that pink fruit raw?" Toma paused. "Because it's safe. I trust you." Nara looked at him for a long second, then wrote another note. At the Learning Dome, Toma worked with other researchers. They were studying a plant that closed when touched. Toma reached out and brushed its leaf gently. It folded up like a soft fan. Nara watched closely. "Do you have plants like this on Earth?" Toma nodded. "Yes, we do. We call it a touch-me-not." Nara's eyes lit up. "That is a strange name," he laughed. "I agree, but many of our names are like that. Some things are named by how they behave." Nara tilted her head. "So if I follow you, am I a follow me always?" Toma blinked, then smiled. That's not a bad name for you. She gave a quiet glow again. During the afternoon, they visited the music chamber. This was a round room filled with instruments from across the galaxy. Toma picked up a Varelian harp. It was light and made of shining metal strings. When he strummed it, the sound floated like air. Nara listened for a moment, then asked, "Why do humans sing?" Toma thought for a moment. "Singing helps us share feelings. We sing when we are happy, sometimes when we are sad, sometimes just to feel better." She nodded slowly. "We send colors. You send sounds." "Yes," he said, "but both come from the heart." Nara didn't speak for a while. She just sat and listened as Toma played a simple earth tune. He had learned it as a child, and the melody always made him calm. When the tune ended, Nara looked at him with soft eyes. "That sound is gentle," she said. Toma put the harp down. "Music is one of the things I miss most from Earth. But maybe—" "Your world has its own music I haven't heard yet." Nara touched a round shell hanging nearby. It made a soft bell-like sound. "Sometimes our trees sing in the wind," she said, "but I think you would call it silence." Toma smiled. "Maybe I just don't know how to listen the right way." They left the chamber and walked across a clear bridge above the garden. The sun was setting, and the sky was full of soft gold. Below, the plants glowed gently in waves. Toma stopped to look. Nara stood beside him. "I have one more question today," she said. "Only one?" Toma teased. She nodded. "Why did you come here?" Toma was quiet for a moment. "I came to learn, just like you." "But why learn from us?" Nara asked. "Because your world is peaceful. Your people live in balance. You do not hurry. Listen. That is something many humans forget." Nara looked down. "Some Varelians do not trust humans. They think you change things too fast." "I understand," Toma said. "We move quickly. We try to fix problems fast. Sometimes we forget to stop and think." Nara looked at his face carefully. "You do not seem fast." Toma laughed. "Maybe I am slower than most. Then I will follow you longer," she said. Toma looked at her and nodded. "I would like that." The next day, Nara brought him a small gift. It was a piece of smooth stone with a pattern carved into it. The shape looked like a leaf and a star combined. "This is a learning stone," she explained. "We give it to someone who teaches us something important." Toma took it gently. "Thank you. I will keep this with me always." She looked happy and added, "I now know 50 human things." Toma raised an eyebrow. "Only 50? She gave a small smile. "Today I will learn 51. They sat under a tall tree where golden lights fell from the branches like soft rain. Toma showed her a video on his tablet of a human child learning to walk. The child fell and got up many times, laughing all the way. "Why do you show me this?" Nara asked. "Because learning also means failing," Toma said. "But humans keep trying." She watched the video again. "The small one does not stop." "No," Toma said. "That's how we grow." Nara wrote another note. "That will be number 51. They sat in silence for a while. Nara watched the leaves, and Toma watched her. He realized she had changed since their first meeting. She was still curious, still full of questions. But now she looked more open, less shy, more connected. That night, as he sat in his room, Toma looked at the learning stone again. He placed it beside his notebook and wrote his own thoughts. Today, Nara asked 50 questions. But I think I learned more than she did. The morning sky on Varel looked brighter than usual. The twin suns were rising together, spreading golden and purple light across the sky. The trees shimmered with soft color, and the air carried a fresh, sweet smell. Toma stood outside the dome. watching small floating lights drift past him. Nara walked up beside him, holding a bundle of soft cloth. "Today is the light bloom," she said. Toma turned to her. "What is that?" "It is our moon festival. Tonight, the twin moons will shine together and the starflowers will bloom," she said. "It happens once every cycle." He had read about the light bloom in the guidebook, but did not know how special it truly was. Nara held out the bundle. "This is for you. It is a robe for the festival." Toma unfolded the cloth. It was light blue with silver threads, soft and smooth. It looked like water made into cloth. He looked at her, surprised. "I cannot wear this. It looks important." Nara shook her head. "You are our guest. You must wear it. It will show respect." Toma nodded. "Then thank you. I will wear it with care." Later that day, Nara brought him to a wide field near the forest. Varelians were building small platforms and placing glowing stones in patterns. Some were tying long ribbons between trees. Soft music played in the background, and the whole area was filled with excitement. Nara showed Toma how to tie the robe and place a leaf band around his wrist. Then she pointed to a group of Varelians practicing slow. "Steps. That is the moon dance. It welcomes the star flowers." Toma watched carefully. The dance was graceful and calm. Movements flowed like water, and every step matched the rhythm of the wind chimes. "Do you want to try?" Nara asked. "I will try, but I may step on someone," Toma joked. She smiled and took his hand. "Then I will teach you." For the next hour, they practiced together. Toma's steps were not perfect, and sometimes he turned the wrong way. But Nara was patient. She moved with ease, and her glowing skin gave off soft light with every step. Slowly, Toma began to move in rhythm. When I mow, they stopped. Nara gave him a small nod. "You are ready." As the sun set, more Varelians arrived. Families, elders, and children all gathered in the field. Everyone wore robes of different colors. The sky turned deep blue, and two moons rose together. One was white, and the other soft purple. The starflowers began to bloom. They opened slowly, glowing from the inside. Each flower sent out tiny lights that floated into the air like fireflies. The field became a garden of stars. Toma stood still, amazed by the beauty around him. He had never seen anything like it. Nara walked to his side. "This is why we celebrate. The moons give light to the flowers, and the flowers give light to us." Toma nodded. "It is beautiful. Your world is full of wonders." The music started again. The moon dance began, and Nara gently pulled Toma forward. They joined the circle of dancers. The ground was soft, and the lights floated between them. Toma tried to follow the steps he had learned. Sometimes he stumbled, but Nara guided him with calm hands. As they moved, more Varelians watched. Some smiled. A few laughed softly when Toma's feet went the wrong way, but not in a cruel way. They seemed happy that he was trying. At the center of the circle, a young child gave Toma a flower and placed it behind his ear. He smiled and thanked her. Nara's glow turned a little brighter. After the dance, everyone sat down to share food. Toma was given a dish filled with small glowing cubes and round fruits. He took a bite and felt a sweet taste spread in his mouth. It was fresh and full of flavor. Nara offered him a drink made from the nectar of the starflowers. It sparkled inside the glass. Toma sipped it, and his eyes widened. "That is strong," he said. Nara laughed. "It wakes the heart." The elder of the village came forward and gave a short speech. She spoke in a calm voice, thanking the moons and the flowers for their light. Then she turned to Toma. "Human guest, you dance with us. You learn our ways. You listen and walk gently. This is the path of a true friend." Toma stood and bowed slightly. Thank you for welcoming me. I have learned so much already. Your world is peaceful and full of light. I will carry this memory, always." The elder smiled. "Then you are part of the bloom now." The night continued with more music and quiet laughter. Nara sat with Toma under a tree, watching the lights float above them. "Did you enjoy it?" she asked. "I did," Toma replied. "I was nervous at first, but this was the most peaceful night I have ever known." Nara looked at the sky. "You belong here." Toma turned to her. "You think so?" "Yes," she said. "You see with kind eyes. You listen, you ask, and you share." Toma looked down at the glowing learning stone she had given him days ago. He held it gently in his hand. "I came here to learn, but I think I found more than knowledge," he said. "What did you find?" Nara asked. "A friend," Toma answered. They sat quietly, listening to the soft music and watching the moons rise higher. The festival would continue through the night, but the moment between them felt still and full. For the first time, Toma did not feel like a visitor. He felt like part of the story. The morning after the Light Bloom Festival was quiet. The flowers were still glowing softly in the garden, and the air carried a sweet scent. Toma sat under the tall tree where he and Nara had danced the night before. His robe was folded neatly beside him, and he was writing in his notebook. Nara walked toward him, her steps slow and thoughtful. She had her own notebook with her, the one where she wrote all her questions and answers about humans. She sat beside him without saying a word. Toma looked at her. "You are quiet today." "I heard something," she replied. "Some of the elders spoke after the festival. Not all are happy." Toma closed his notebook. "What did they say?" "They worry that humans will change us. They think we are opening the door too fast." Toma took a deep breath. "That is fair. Humans do bring change. We move fast and ask many things." "But you have not tried to change anything," Nara said. "You have only listened and learned." "Some may not see it that way," Toma replied. Later that day, a message came from the council. Toma was asked to attend a meeting. Nara looked at the message with him. "They want to hear from you directly," she said. "They want to understand your purpose." Toma nodded. "Then I will speak honestly." The council hall was a wide dome with soft blue walls and silver lights hanging from the ceiling. 7 elders sat in a circle. Their eyes were calm but serious. Nara walked with Toma and stood behind him. She was not part of the council, but they allowed her to stay. Elder Mina, the one who had spoken at the festival, began the meeting. "Toma, we thank you for walking gently on our world, but some of our people still feel unsure. We ask you to speak about your time here and your reason for coming." Toma stood tall. "I came to learn. I was chosen because I listen more than I speak. I wanted to understand your world, not to change it." Another elder leaned forward. "Why should we trust humans? Your history speaks of fast growth and deep mistakes." Toma nodded. "That is true. We have made many mistakes, but we also learn from them. That is why I came, to learn before we ever think of asking." The room was quiet. The elders shared small glances. Their necks glowed in soft patterns that Toma could not fully read. Then Nara stepped forward. "I would like to speak," she said. The elders looked at each other, then gave a small nod. Nara held up her notebook. "I have followed Toma since the day he arrived. At first I only wanted to observe, but then I saw how he asked questions and listened with care. He never pushed. He never rushed." She opened her notebook. "These are my notes. I have written more than 100 things I have learned from him. He has also learned from us. We walk beside each other now." She looked directly at the elders. He is not just a visitor. He is a bridge. Elder Mina nodded slowly. You speak with care, young one, another elder asked. Would you allow more humans to visit? Nara answered. Only those who walk like Toma. The council fell silent again. After a while, Elder Mina spoke. We cannot decide today, but we hear your words. We see your steps. We will think with care. The meeting ended, and Toma stepped. Outside with Nara, the air felt heavy, but there was a quiet hope in his heart. Thank you for speaking, Toma said. You did not stand alone, Nara replied. The next few days passed slowly. Toma continued his work, but many Varelians were more distant. Some still smiled, but others kept their space. Nara noticed it too. Change takes time, she said. Toma agreed. It always does. One morning, Toma returned to his room and found a small folded leaf placed near his door. Inside was a message written in soft ink. The council has decided. You may stay longer. The learning path continues. Toma smiled. He walked to the garden and found Nara sitting by the pond. They said yes, he told her. Nara looked up. You may stay? Yes. The learning path continues, he said. She stood and gave him a gentle glow from her neck. Then we will walk it together. That evening they sat under the stars. Nara brought her notebook and read aloud one of her entries. Day 20. Human smiles even when tired. I think this means hope. Toma laughed softly. You notice everything. She looked at him. You showed me that small things matter. Toma picked up a small stone and placed it in her hand. This is from Earth. It is not special to many, but I carried it here to remind me where I come from. Nara held the stone carefully. Then I will keep it, to remember who you are. The sky above them was filled with quiet light. The trouble had not passed completely, but something strong had started. A bridge had been built between two worlds, not with machines, but with trust. The sun rose slowly over the purple hills of Virel. Toma packed his things carefully. His visit was coming to an end. The small blue robe was folded neatly, and his notebook was full of notes and drawings. He looked around the room one last time, feeling both happy and a little sad. Nara waited for him outside. She wore a soft smile and held a small package wrapped in glowing leaves. I made this for you, she said softly. Toma took the gift and unwrapped it gently. Inside was a paper bird, folded with care. When he touched it, the wings moved as if the bird was alive. This is amazing, Toma said, smiling wide. How did you make it? Nara looked down. I saw humans fold paper on videos. I tried many times. Toma laughed softly. It is perfect. She looked up, her eyes shining. This will help you remember me, Toma nodded, and I will keep it close. They walked slowly through the garden. The glowing plants made soft light around them. Nara held Toma's arm for a moment. Will you come back? I hope so, Toma said. There is much more to learn. She looked at the sky. I want to see your world too. Toma smiled. One day, I will bring you to Earth. Nara's glow brightened. That will be the best day. They stopped at the edge of the forest near the landing pad. Toma's ship was ready, shining silver under the twin moons. Nara held her notebook close. I have written many things about humans. About you. Toma reached out and took her hand. And I have learned from you. The moment was quiet, but full of meaning. Neither wanted to say goodbye, but they knew it was time. Nara looked at Toma and whispered, Thank you for being patient. Toma smiled. Thank you for being curious. The ship's doors opened with a soft sound. Toma stepped inside. looking back at Nara. She stood still, glowing softly in the moonlight. "I will follow you," she said quietly. Toma waved. "And I will wait for you." The ship lifted slowly. As it rose into the sky, Toma watched Nara. "Wave one last time." Her hand glowed bright blue. The stars welcomed him back as the ship moved through space. He held the paper bird gently in his hand. Back on Earth, Toma sat at his desk. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. He opened his notebook and read the last notes about Varel and Nara. He smiled. The friendship he had found was more than he expected. It was a bridge between two worlds, built with kindness and trust. He placed the paper bird on his shelf. It reminded him that learning never ends and that friends can come from the most unexpected places. Months had passed since Toma left Varel. His days on Earth were full of work, but his thoughts often drifted back to the blue-skinned world and the glowing fields where star flowers bloomed under twin moons. The paper bird still sat on his desk, its wings waiting to flap. One morning, news came that a new group of visitors from Varel was arriving on Earth. The Galactic Union had approved an exchange program to bring young Varelians to Earth to learn about human culture. Toma was asked to help welcome them. He stood at the spaceport, waiting with a mixture of excitement and nerves. The large doors opened with a hiss, and a group of tall, glowing figures stepped out. They wore simple clothes, but their skin shone softly under Earth's bright lights. Then Toma saw her. Nara. She was the first to step forward, her eyes wide with wonder. She wore Earth shoes, something she had learned about from Toma's notes. In her hand, she held a new notebook, glowing faintly. Toma smiled and stepped forward. "Nara," he said warmly. She looked at him and smiled. "Toma." The two met in the middle, a moment filled with quiet happiness. Nara spoke first. "I wanted to come here, to follow you again." Toma laughed softly. "I hoped you would." They walked together through the spaceport. Nara was curious about everything, the tall buildings, the sounds, the people rushing by. "Earth is loud," she said. "Yes, but it is full of life," Toma replied. They visited the city gardens next. Toma showed Nara the tall green trees and colorful flowers that were different from those on Varel. Nara touched the leaves carefully. "Your world is very alive," she said. "It is," Toma said, "and I want to show you more." At a small cafe, they sat and shared food. Nara tried bread and cheese for the first time. She laughed at how soft and different the taste was. "You eat many kinds of food?" she said. "Yes. Earth has many flavors." Nara opened her notebook and showed Toma new drawings. There were pictures of Earth animals, machines, and people. She had written questions and notes just like before. "I want to learn everything," she said. Toma nodded. "And I will help you." As days passed, Nara met many humans. She learned to say simple words and understand human smiles and gestures. People were curious and kind. Many asked her questions, too. She shared stories of Varel and the peaceful Light Bloom Festival. One evening, they sat on a quiet hill watching the sunset. Nara looked at the sky, her eyes bright. "This place feels different but good," she said. Toma smiled. "It is different, but maybe not so far from home." She looked at him. "Will you take me back to Varel someday?" "I promise," Toma said. "There is still much to see together." Nara gave a soft glow, happy and full of hope. Together, they watched the stars come out one by one. The paper bird rested between them, its wings ready to fly. The journey of friendship and learning had only just begun. Two worlds connected by kindness, curiosity, and the simple act of following someone who teaches you to see the beauty in all things.